This is the story of an elevator that only went sideways. In 1924, the New York Times reported on a new invention from a Mr. Ov Carruthers. He was an engineer who had designed what was described in the newspaper as a novel type of elevator. It was one of many such contraptions that were patented during that era when it seemed like everyone was trying to reinvent the elevator. But what made this one so special, so unique, was that it didn't go up or down. It went sideways. According to the patent, it was designed to be installed in tall buildings where it would move passengers horizontally along a shaft. The elevator car itself was square-shaped with a door at one end. Inside, there was a bench, and above the bench was a pulley wheel. Now, if you look at the diagram, you might notice something missing, namely the cables that normally connect the elevator to the motor and the counterweight. And that's because this elevator didn't have any. It was entirely driven by air pressure. The way it worked was that air was blown into the shaft, which pushed the elevator car along. The speed of the elevator could be controlled by varying the amount of air that was blown into the shaft. To make the elevator go faster, you turn this valve here, which opens up another valve further up the shaft. This lets more air into the top of the shaft, increasing the pressure there and forcing the elevator car down. And to make the elevator go slower, you turn this valve, which closes off the upper valve and decreases the pressure in the top of the shaft. Eventually, the elevator car will come to a stop and you can open the door and get out. Now you might be wondering why anyone would want an elevator that only went sideways. Well, imagine you're in a tall building and you want to get from the ground floor to the top floor. You step into the elevator and press the button. Then, instead of going straight up, the elevator takes you on a scenic tour of the building, slowly moving from room to room until you reach your destination. You can also do this in reverse to go back down. But unfortunately, despite its many advantages, this elevator never caught on. There were several reasons for this. One is that the technology just wasn't quite ready for it. The patent was filed in 1924, but it wasn't actually built until 1930. By that time, the passenger elevator had already been around for decades and people were used to going straight up and down. The idea of a sideways moving elevator was just too weird and uncomfortable for most people. Also, the elevator was very slow. It took 20 minutes to travel the entire 10 stories of the building. And because it moved so slowly, it wasn't all that energy efficient. And finally, there was the issue of safety. The elevator didn't have any cables or pulleys, which meant that if the air pressure in the shaft suddenly dropped, the elevator could start moving very quickly and unexpectedly. So, while the idea of a sideways elevator might seem like a fun novelty today, it just wasn't practical in the 1930s, as the New York Times put it. The value of the invention is not fully realized because the speed is so slow that a person's time is not nearly as well utilized as it would be in a conventional elevator. But what about today? With modern technology, we could probably make a much faster and safer sideways elevator. In fact, I know a guy who's already done it. A few years ago, a man named Ethan Mops built a working model of Carruthers' elevator in his garage. His version was much faster than the original, traveling the length of his hallway in just under a minute. So maybe it's time to bring back the elevator that only goes sideways. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more fun science and tech stories. Thanks for watching.